What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're looking at 3v3 strategic challenge. Just some tips and tricks, things that may help you get to that next level or maybe increase a couple ranks over in Master. So let's jump into them. All right, before we get into the actual tips and tricks, let's just go over the mode real quick in case you're new to the game or maybe you've only done it once or something like that. So let's talk about it. Now in this mode, this is a 3v3 mode. So you take 3 of your teams and you work your way up a ladder by defeating your different opponents. This is a little different than Meta Brawl just because you have to think through the team structure and things like that. It's not just your one best team. And you're going to get some really good rewards as you work through the different ranks all the way up to Master. So one of the first basic tips I'm going to give you is only focus on 2 teams. So yes, it is 3v3. And if you're a huge Kraken or one of the top whales, you may actually have 3 good teams, but most people are only going to have 1, 1.5, maybe 2 good teams. And this is what you need to focus on when you're thinking about bleeds or investing in the mythic characters and things like that. Really focus in to figure out how can you make the 2 best teams, and synergy is going to be key here. Now, another tip that kind of goes along with that tip that I'd recommend doing is go into your preset squads to kind of mix and match to figure out what you like the most when it comes to these teams. Now, for me, there is a few teams that stand out that have just really good synergy. You have your Justice League team, you have your Arkham team, you have your Justice League Dark team, right? All these teams are going to have a lot of synergy. And if you've got a lot of characters and things like that, it's going to be pretty easy to put these teams together. But I know if you're a light spender or free to play or something like that, it may be a little harder. So in this case, you really want to think through who you want to invest in and how you want to put them together. And this is where it's going to be key of figuring out how many tags you can get on each team and how high of power that you can get for the teams as you take them into this mode. Now, the other little tip and trick, again, these are just all the basic ones I would say, is make sure you get your free challenge every day. So every day this is going to refresh. You're going to get so many free challenges and you're going to get the ability to click and add 1 extra free one each day. Now, me personally, I also get the 20 gym refreshes. I think there's 2 of those that I pick up each day. I wouldn't recommend that unless you just have a lot of random gems laying around. But, you know, for me, I like it because I do get into Master and I have been in Master every single time this is rolled around. We're just now finishing up on our 3rd one. And I like to use those in case maybe I mess up and I lose one, or I'm trying to get those extra couple ranks in the last day to make sure that I'm getting the most amount of rewards that I can get. And the last basic tip I'm going to kind of throw out there before we get into our attacking and defending and things like that is set a goal and work towards it. Just keep in mind, if you're free to play, you may not make it to Master. So just try to find a rank that you really want to go after and focus on that. This is one of those modes that's going to take time to get really good at. And keep in mind, all these people you're playing with, the more time you have, the more time they have. So if you're investing in teams and things like that, they're doing the same. So again, you really just want to focus in, set that goal. Don't get disappointed if you don't make it to Master. But, you know, there are some tips and tricks that we'll talk about when it comes to attack and defense that can maybe help you get there. All right, so when it comes to this mode, there's 2 parts to this mode. There is the attack and the defense. And now a lot of people are just going to create the same teams, do the same thing on each side, and that's totally fine. But I'm going to talk through these because I do think that there is some things that can give you an edge on either side of this. And we're going to start with the attacks. So I'm going to go into the challenge. We're going to use one of our challenge tickets here. And one of the first things I want to point out, which is, yes, a no duh, but when it comes to attacking, you really want to make sure that you are attacking someone who is lower power than you. It doesn't mean you cannot attack higher and win, but your chances are always going to be better. So if you have those refreshes, if you have those tickets, make sure that you refresh to try to find someone who is either at the same power, slightly lower, and occasionally you'll find somebody who's way lower, and that's what you want to focus on. Of course, these stars do matter as far as what you're going to win and go up. But as you can see right here, I'm at 10.5. 10.8 is my lowest one. And I may be able to, you know, get a little bit more out of that battle. But if we can do a couple refreshes just to check, I'm definitely going to do that to start. And if I do a refresh, there we go. We've got a 9.1. Yes, this is a fellow member in our league, but we've already talked to RevArc. He knows that we may attack him in here, and he's totally fine with that. But another one is maybe DNA right here with a 10.7. It is close, but you can see we're going to get 7 stars off of Rev and Kit instead of the 6. That's a maybe iffy. So we're definitely going to go ahead and attack here. So we'll kind of walk through what we're doing. So as we attack, what you're going to find out is at the lower levels of 3v3, you're going to actually be able to see what the power is on each of the ships. And when you're in those lower ones, I really can't give you any great advice outside of the fact that make sure your highest power is going against their highest power. But the caveat there is, remember, you only have to win 2 out of 3. So whatever their highest power is, the very top one, ignore that one. Go after their second and their third and make sure that your first and second are going against that. So their second highest power needs to go against your top power. Their third highest power needs to go against your second highest. So you're going to throw away that third team. Again, like I said, it only matters about 2 teams. So your third team, it doesn't matter what you throw in there. Of course, you probably want to put as strong of a team as you can make, but you're probably not going to win that because it's going against their strongest team. So, you know, just do that. But once you get to master or the one right below master, we're not going to get that info anymore. And the only thing we're going to see is the jets. So because of that, this is something you want to look at and understand what you're going through. So this is some of that stuff that I'm going to talk about with tips and tricks, because we're going to be playing some 4D chess here. And this is where my mind is at when I look at these. Now, this is not always 100% going to be true. And after this video comes out, more people may take this as some tips and tricks, and this may change over time. But for now, this is how I always address it. And it's going to be true for your defense as we go through. So if we look at the jets, you can see we have this jet right here, which is the purple jet, and meaning that it's kind of the tier 2 of the jets. And then we have 2 of the legendary jets that are here. The mythic, they're not mythic because they're not red. The yellow jets are up here. So typically this red jet is actually the strongest jet out of the 2, but some people actually think that this jet is a little bit better when they put their teams. So again, the 4D chess, you have to think about where you want to put your teams. So we know that the purple jet is always going to be most likely their lowest team because everybody wants to put their highest team with their highest jet because of the bonuses. So in this case, we want to put our second top team against that one. So you can see right here, we've got our Justice League team, the 3.1, going against that one. So now we have to think through, what do we think is their best team? And most people are going to put their best team as their very first team, their second best team as their second team, their third team as their third. This is not always 100% true. Every now and then you'll see them switched. But whenever I see something like this, this is how I look at it. This is what I assume. So I'm assuming Rev has his top team on the first jet. We have our top team against the second jet. Again, I believe the red jet is the best jet. And so I would assume maybe he has his team here, but because you get this white jet second in the game, a lot of people think that this is the best jet. So we're going to put our worst team against his quote unquote best team. We're going to put our best team against the worst or their second best team. I know I'm kind of stumbling here, but you get the point. And then our second best is against our third best. And we're going to see what happens here. Again, we could be wrong. It is a little bit harder here, but if somebody doesn't have the red jet, they'll tend to have this white jet, or if they haven't unlocked the white jet, they'll have the red jet, and the other 2, they'll have the purple and the blue ship. And same goes for that. Blue ship is always going to be their worst team in their mindset. And when we get to defenses, I'll show you how you can take advantage of that. But we're going to go ahead and attack in here and see what happens. We're going to see if our prediction is true. And these are things to kind of think through, look through, memorize, because you will see a lot of these same people. So going into here, we can see 3.2. This is his Justice League Dark team, which is definitely going to be one of his stronger teams. We're doing our throwaway team as 2.5. We're not going to win this, so we're just going to go ahead and speed it up. And we'll see that we lose, of course, given So now we're using our Justice League Dark team, which is our number 1 team, against their team. And you can see this is 3.2. Now, both of their teams are similar power, but you can see we're using characters like Aquaman. A lot of people don't use Aquaman, things like that in here. So our team is going to steamroll this team because, again, it's our Justice League Dark team, and we're going to get our win there. Going into the third one, this is going to be our second strongest team against most likely their third weakest. And you can see this is 2.6, which is their weakest team in that purple jet that we talked about. Now, this is still a great team when you have characters like Joker, Scarecrow doing their thing, but you can also see we've got Captain Cold, right? Ivy is going to be good, but you know, she's hit or miss on how we're using it. So we're going to go ahead and take down this team pretty easily, as you can see, to get the win. So when it comes to attacks, that's what you're looking for, is to make sure that you're putting your number 1 against their number 2, your number 2 against their number 3. And it is going to be a little bit of a guessing game, but if you can do that, you're going to be able to get a little bit more wins because you're dodging their best team. Yes, you are giving them a free win, but instead of trying to do 1-1, 2-2, and 3-3, and kind of hoping you win some of those, this gives you a better chance to get that 2 out of 3 wins. So I talked about 4D chess when it comes to attacking and figuring out how you're attacking the different players. The same goes for defense. And to me, this is the most important one. So just like I just said, we're trying to guess at which one are their best teams. And so now we're going to kind of do a little bit of opposite. Now you can still go and do that same strategy and just hope that you have better people, but I'm going in and I'm tweaking these a little bit to figure out if I can make them, you know, guess wrong when it comes to the different teams. So what I do, because I know my Justice League Dark team is just amazing, I've got them fully maxed, a lot of red stars, things like that, I'm going to put that actually in the worst jet. And if it's in the worst jet, it's probably going against their number 2 team. So I do this because I have the 2 yellow jets and I don't know which one they're going to pick. And I would rather my number 1 team go against their number 2 team, again, being that purple jet, rather than them guessing right or guessing wrong of me putting them into a yellow jet. Now, we mentioned this before, which yellow jet people think are the best, which think are the worst. So in my opinion, the red jet, the bonuses on the red jet, because they get attack and defense up, is better than just the attack up. Yes, this gives you more attack because of the attack up, but I honestly think the defense is a little bit better, especially with this particular team that I have together with Ivy and Joker getting all the stuff. So I have 2 healers in this team. I've got Joker being able to do DPS. So as long as they survive long enough, Joker will kill an entire team. And then of course I've got my Superman doing a lot of damage. Now, Batman, I don't love, but if I had a character like Shazam fully maxed out or something like that, maybe he would also go in this team, but I don't. I haven't invested too much into him. So this is my Justice League team. I'm getting the Justice League tag as well as Joker extra damage here. And again, when it comes to teams, use your best teams. But I put them in the red jet because the idea here is if they think that this is the best jet, and again, you may want to do some testing based on who's attacking you and things like that. You may want to swap these jets out if everybody seems to think the white jet is the better jet, because they're going to always be attacked by their worst team. So whatever their worst team there is throwing away, they're either going to do that against this team, which again is fine. And once I get Martian Manhunter and some of those characters, this team will change. Joker will come up here and I'll have more of an Arkham team. Again, always thinking forward of what I'm going after in bleeds and how I'm building teams. But this is one of those where you can get some sneaky wins because of the way they attack and who they throw up against your different teams. Sure, the jet isn't going to give them as much of a bonus. So again, this bonus is pretty janky. It's not really good, but this team is strong enough. It doesn't necessarily need that bonus. And this is why I do it this way. All right. And just to prove the point, if I go back into the log, so I just opened the log, you can see we're getting some victories. Yes, we're not always going to win because again, Candid right here, like his basic Meta Brawl team is like 8 million points or something like that. It's ridiculous. He's a super Kraken in here So you're not always going to win, but you can see I lost 1 star, but then I gained 6 from winning here. If I scroll back, you'll see a couple defeats. We'll get a victory in here, a victory in here. Back here, we got a victory a couple different times from our defenses. So again, it can give you that little bit of an edge. Sure, you're never going to win every single time, especially if you're on a server with whales and krakens and things like that. I have a great account, but there's still tons of people in this bracket around our server that are way bigger than mine, way stronger than mine. But as you can see, even with the attacks, I'm making sure that I'm attacking who I believe I can win. And of course, every now and then you're going to lose one. You misjudged which jet you were attacking or something like that. But I'm hoping that these tips can kind of help you guys. And I will have some more videos coming out later in the week and next week of diving down into teams, how I've gone about, my investments. You guys already saw me do the whole Constantine and Justice League Dark stuff. I have more thoughts on how I'm going to continue in the bleeds and what characters I'm going after. So I do plan to have a video coming up pretty soon, deep diving on those thoughts. So there are the tips and tricks for 3v3 strategic challenge. The last bonus tip I was just thinking about and I'm going to put here is if you're facing the same people over and over, you may want to grab a sheet of paper and write down which ship had what in it, because this will help you. I see the same people popping up a lot, and a lot of people don't go and change their defenses every day. So you can also do that just to make sure if you see them again, you know which ones to go after and things like that. But I appreciate everybody who has supported the channel, that's hit that sub button already, that's left a comment, a like, and all of that. If you got any other questions, feel free, leave them down in the chat. Let me know maybe a tip or trick I missed that you use when it comes to this event. And until next time, guys, y'all take it easy.